Evening, everyone. Welcome back to Heather's Mixed Media Studio. I thought today I might go over all of the projects I have going on. First, we're going to start with some things that got finished this week while I was hassling with all the tech problems. So this was the neurographic art that happened inside the van. I was having a moment, and if the words on this page offend you, okay. But the politics of the day were getting me annoyed, and I made this poster. And so it says what it says, and I want that to do that. Anyway, I've also pasted in a piece of watercolor paper. I have a watercolor project I want to do in my Reluctant Art Journal, and that will happen probably off camera. I don't know. We'll see. I might watercolor on camera. So that art happened. I forgot to show you one of the Pico art pieces. The back of the Credit One card has this lovely fabric on it that I had found. So it's in here as well. Again, this is an ongoing something. Someday it'll be something. I don't know what. Let's see. Those of you who've been watching, I wrote the name down. Where to write the name down at? Those of you who are part of Makers of Mixed Media Artists have already seen this. But over there, one of the moderators, main people in that channel, Kerry Griffiths, who has his own website, Kerry the Crafter, and you can find those. They do a Maker's Color combo every month. And so when I got the markers, the creative art markers, and said, oh, I think that's Pageant Blue, I did actually take those colors, and I had put some stencils down on a gel plate that I have, and did what I hoped was Pageant Blue on the top part of the stencils. And because my stencils are smaller than my plate, I had a stencil on the left and a stencil on the right. And those colors to me looked like grass and night sky. So that's what I went with. And I used my creative art markers to draw directly on the gel plate, and did that with the Pageant Blue color also. And I didn't really have a heliotrope that I could find, but I had an acrylic paint that was deep violet, I think it said. It was the closest I could get with the products I had on hand. So using those three things, and again, I had put the stencil on the gel plate first, and then colored in the blank spaces with the markers and the paint. And then I pulled that. Oh, I'm sorry. My pull coat was this brassy color. What is that color? Antique copper. It says it's antique copper anyway. And I used that as my pull color. And so that was the metallic, because it does say that you can optional colors, black, white, and a metallic of choice. So that's where the metallic came in. And then I did there's a white tree and a black tree, white stars and black stars. And I thought I was done. And then I read the mark making element overlapping circles. And I'm like, man. So I did the white circles on this side, and then the black circles on this side. So you've got this odd balance of white and black going on. And then to offset these big circles, I did the two circles on the top and the bottom in the opposite color from over here. And I think it came out okay. I've now created a thing that I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I'm finding that this is a problem. It's not a bad problem. It's just I don't know what to do with it. I can sense that I'm going to be generating a lot of product that I then don't have a purpose for. Like forever ago, I made this long strip of paper, and I think these are probably watercolor pencils. And it came out pretty. It's got ladybugs and flowers on it. It's too long to be a bookmark, really, although it could be a bookmark. There's nothing on the back at the moment. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. I have a bunch of things that I'm like, okay, now what do I do with it? Similarly, this was the collage prompt for Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists. And I showed this one on camera already, so I won't dwell on it. But this is, again, now it's another, what do I do with this? So I have 3 of those things. Those all got completed this week. Let me get their items out of the way. This is another project that I had seen someone do online, and I thought that is just lovely. I want to try that. The basic idea is you take some ATC size, is the size I was working at, and you get your stencils out, and I had a couple stencils I thought would be good for this. And then you take gel, what's this stuff called? Modeling paste. And I don't mean like, there's a different kind of modeling paste that isn't this. This is acrylic medium, and you use it to create texture and sculpture on the page. And so you run this, smear this in through the stencil, and then once you pull the stencil away, you have this slightly raised element. And then what the person in the video did was took foil tape. This is aluminum foil tape. You can also get gold foil, copper foil. It all depends on what kind of money you want to spend on it. The aluminum foil tape is pretty inexpensive because they use it in heating and air conditioning. So you can get a lot of it for pretty low cost, especially if you go to the hardware store to get it. But it has a peel-off backing. So I did that. I foil taped over all of it, and then you have to burnish it because I called it burnishing it. You want to make sure that the foil gets down into the flat spots and stays raised up on the raised spots. So that's how you get just the tin foil part of this. And then what that person did, pardon me, and they used a product I don't have. I believe the product they used is Brusho, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is a powder substance that you would then sprinkle a little bit of on it, and then you spray some water at it, and the Brusho comes alive in like 2 or 3 different colors at a time. So let's say you had like a purple Brusho. A purple Brusho is probably going to have some pinks and some greens in it, and it's going to oscillate between those 3 colors. I don't have that product, so I worked with what I had. I do have some watercolor inks, and that's how this one happened. I'm not psyched with how it turned out. I may hit it with some water again and see if I can get more movement. But the watercolor inks that I have are blue and... That's a good question. I don't know what color those are. Plum. I have plum and blue, cobalt blue. And when you mix the 2 of those together, you get this lovely purple. But you can see where the plum was. The cobalt blue kind of all got eaten up when they mixed together. So I may drop more of this on here and try to get some different effects. But yeah, clearly that it dried really well, but this one was the wettest of them, I think, when I laid them down to dry. The next thing I tried was I mixed up some paint in a spray bottle and tried just spraying paint directly at it. And you can see where it pooled in this one corner here. It didn't really quite give me the effect I want. So I'm not sure what I think about that. I may try just cleaning some of it off. It's acrylic paint, so I may be able to peel it off. I don't know. I'm probably going to play with those two. I wasn't really thrilled with how they turned out. What did I do with the orange one? I painted this one. Yes, I just took a straight up paintbrush and painted it. And then I used the edge of a credit card and tried to scrape off the paint so that the top levels wouldn't have paint, but the lower levels would. That was slightly more successful. Let's see. This one I did a similar thing, but the paint here is gouache. So this is all gouache. I'm not sure. I did hit it with a spray bottle, but the gouache didn't move very much. That might be okay. It might not. You can see a little bit here where the gouache moved around a little bit. I don't know. I kind of like this one, even though it's not what I was trying to achieve. I think I like it more because of the pattern and the color. It's giving me a very First Nations Native American vibe, and that's kind of what I was going for. It's not what I wanted this technique to do, but it's getting there. This was another one, I believe, where I painted it. I painted this with metallic, with the copper from the previous thing, and this one with a gold that I have. And it came out okay. I really like this stencil. I don't know. It's okay. It's not what I was aiming for. I think the most successful one was this one. And this is a stencil I'm not really excited about. But what I did here is I took the King Art markers and just outlined each of these little pieces of confetti. And then as the confetti pieces got smaller, I started just covering the confetti piece itself. And this was much more the effect I was going for. The colors aren't as vibrant as I would like, but they're also the kind of muted color that I was kind of hoping for. So it's a mixed bag. I think this is what I wanted, where the raised part is clear, but most of the color is down below. So yeah, this was a thing that I did. I wouldn't call it a success. This one was neat. I would do this technique again. It may be more subtle than most people would like, but I think it's really cool. And these couple, I think I can play around with them more. So that's probably what I'm going to do, is just keep futzing with them until I don't hate them. Or if I do hate them, I will give them away. I don't know. So that's a project that I worked on this week. And then, as promised, I did swatch all the markers. You know, I promised. It's more a promise to myself than to you guys. But all the highlighters are here. All the King Art markers are here. I forgot that it only had the one yellow, so I have a couple of blank spots in there. These are the Sharpie bullet tip here. And again, I tried to keep them so that all the reds are on one level, all the oranges, all the greens. My denim kind of fell out. Oh, well, it only had space for two. At any rate, one of my blues didn't quite make it. It's okay. The Sharpie bullet tip are here. I assigned color names to them just so in my head, when I reach for them, I know kind of what color I'm looking for. I also think I might have misnamed burnt umber. Is probably supposed to be raw umber. And by the way, why is it that no one can cook umber? You either get it burnt or you get it raw, but those are your only options. All right, that one dries. Yeah, see, this one has more of reads more red to me. I think this is actually more of a raw umber and less of a burnt umber. I don't know what umber is, but I do know that the reason they call burnt umber burnt is because a word that used to mean cooking was burnt. And so raw umber is umber that you pull out of the ground. Burnt umber is actually cooked umber. I do actually know that. Sometimes I know stuff. Not a lot of stuff, but sometimes I know stuff. And so water, chiffon blue, denim, lilac, lavender, copper tone. I'm still going to call that copper tone. Yes, I know that that's a tanning solution from the 80s, but yeah, what are you going to do? Sharpie brush tips. We had the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, gray. Tropical green is what I decided to call that. Seafoam and magenta. I think this may also be a magenta color over in the King Art markers. But you can see them all properly swatched at this point with names. So I made this little chart. It's more for my use than for your knowledge, but it's a thing I made. Another project I had been working on, I showed you in one of the videos, the brown bags, the stack of I eat way too much fast food. So I did actually bind them into a book. And to do that, I created these two covers. Some of you may know, the makers of mixed media art and artists would know that I had a gel plate that gave me fits trying to pull the product off the gel plate. And so these were the bits and pieces that I could save from that gel print pull. I took them into little pieces and did the corners and then did a cross I had some other pulls from my 5x7 plate, and that's where this orange, I take that back, this orange piece was a painted paper. But these two purple and these two blue were a pull. This was a pull following something I think possibly Carrie Griffiths did, where I think it was pumpkins, it was right around Halloween. I didn't have one that had pumpkins, but I had this one that had all these ball shapes. And so I did the painting of all the different things. It came out nice. This is a stamp that I have. Anyway, so I made these two covers. And then, like I said, I had done some painted pages. That's where this orange and all that came from. And I had two that I thought were really very successful. This one, I think this turned out lovely. It's got some texture to it. Some people are into numbers. I'm not, but I used it anyway because I thought, hey, you know, could be good. I think that was a brayer off at some point. There's some circles going on in here. I did some lines that are not quite straight. So this one came out all right. I would use this for something pretty like this. And then the other one that I really liked how it turned out was this one. Another product that I acquired was chalk pastels. I have no idea what or when or why I will ever use chalk pastels because that sounds messy, is messy. But after this page happened, the page needed something because it was this kind of pretty pink, blue, white thing going on, but it didn't have a it needed an but you can see there's some metallic tones in here. I'm not sure what I used to get the metallic. But anyway, I went through with the chalk and just did this. My mom's name was Linda. This was a thing that got drawn all the time. And then did a couple swooshies over here, did a piece of wheat. I don't know what that is. And then took some brown here. There's some white across here, some white across here. And then just kind of smudged it out with my hand. And now it's this. And I think this is lovely. It's not, I don't know where I would ever use it at, but I think it came out okay. So I then took all of that. This is standard corrugated cardboard. I didn't have any chipboard, and I definitely didn't have any chipboard this big. But I have tons of cardboard around. Like I said, we just moved, so there's a lot of cardboard in my house. I wouldn't recommend using corrugated cardboard as a book cover, but because I knew that this was all made of leftover stuff, I really wasn't too worried about it. But I did a single binding, single, with the cheap twine I picked up at the Dollar Tree, and now I have whatever this is. And I can use it to paint in or draw in or whatever. Free craft supplies from my excessive going out to fast food restaurants hobby. If you need free paper, paper bags count as paper. I don't know that I needed free paper, but now I have it. And again, I have no idea what I will ever do with this, but it's a thing I made. Yes, so that's the end of all of the things that I have made in the last week.